right before I push record, I'm like, do you want to talk about the FBI again? Really? Someone in my comments brought up the idea that Gavin, McGinnis, I always lose his last name, or I want to say Gavin Rossdale, how the possibility that he was picked up, but then told to say it was a prank, that would make more sense than that actually being something that someone would do, because why would you do that? You know, I don't know, he seems like a kind of a smart guy. I've only recently been looking at him. I've seen him on Kumia, but like his own show and stuff, and he seems to know what's going on as far as how contentious it is. And again, in my opinion, he glows, but whatever the case is, perhaps in some situation this could be a possibility. You know, it's some of the details arranged differently. Like maybe he is glowing, but he had to be brought in, and he was brought in for his group to look like something. Who knows? I don't know the little games they play here. I'm not really good into it. I'm not really good into it. I'm not really that into the whole intelligence agency. I just don't care. It's just boring. But so then I saw that thing today with is it Mark Lindell or Mike Lindell? I don't know. Some Trump guy got raided, I guess. But then I read later that it was just his phone stolen from the Hardys. So that's kind of a big, you know, that's quite a scale to be on. Having your property raided and having it taken by Hardys, at Hardys, your cell phone. But the thing is, it's like it shows that is the climate right now. You know, that these things are happening. But the thing that killed me the most is when you see people talk about these type of things, and they talk about having to vote. Different politicians are like, that's why you gotta vote, man. That's why you gotta vote. And I'm just like, I see stuff like that, and a lot of people saying that, and I just get so like fucking blackpilled for the world. I'm like, come on, guys, really? I figured this shit out a long time ago. I probably still had a little bit more faith in Santa longer than I had a belief in the political system as it's fucking explained to us. Oh, there's something going on here. But yeah, that's all theater, man. Like I don't, you know, it's all theater. None of it's real. Your vote doesn't really count. Who's the guy that did Tom Sawyer? Help me. Mark Twain. Whether he was a real guy or not, I don't even know his deal. He's probably some made-up character as well. But he had a quote attributed to him, which said something along the lines of, if our vote could change anything, they wouldn't let us vote. And that's fucking 100% true. They let you vote, or they let you go through the motions of voting so that you feel more in control of your own, basically, slavery under these politicians. And it does a lot of other things as side effects. It shows dissent between people, which is what they love. You know, that's one of the main reasons they do stuff. But there's no fucking way that system is real. And like I said, I figured this out, well, kind of a long time ago. First decade of the century. I'd always kind of had my suspicions about it. But then when I just started, you know, doing simple things in my head, I used to go boating with my dad. I lived with my dad, just me and him, for almost a decade, like 8 years. Or maybe a little less than that. And when it was voting time, he'd always take me voting. I'd go with him, you know. And we'd go to this VFW, I think it was, or Knights of Columbus, one of these places you can rent for functions and stuff. Function hall. That's where they did the voting. So I'd go in there, and you know, there'd be a bunch of tables set up with a lot of old bingo ladies, and there's always like a dude or two, an older like veteran, you know, propped up in a chair. It looked like you were going to bingo. And in one part of the room that had the little booths, you know, with the blinds. As I'm explaining this to you, I bet everyone's like, yeah, well, yeah, of course, yes, I know. But I don't know if this is how they still do it. It's been a long time since I went. I mean, I know a lot of things are computerized now, so I don't know how the fuck it goes. But this is how it was going the last time I went. So you'd go, you'd see a little bingo lady, and you give her your address information. You know, she'd basically go through that thing, and then you'd get your little card, and you'd go into one of these booths, right? So I fill out my little card, right? I don't know why I'm taking you through every fucking step, but it illustrates what's going on here. So I get the card, bring it back to the bingo lady. She doesn't take it; it goes in a box, like a cardboard box, you know. And then, like, I don't know, 4 hours later, my dad and I are on the couch, and they're reading off who won, or at the very least, who's, you know, set to win or in the race or whatever. I don't even know. 4 hours is just an arbitrary kind of guess that I pull out of my ass. Not long after in the day. So I'm thinking, all right, well, what happened in those hours since I put my thing in that box? Did the government come in like a government truck and pick those up, the cardboard boxes, and then take them somewhere else, like real, to count them? Or did the old bingo ladies in the hall just count them? And how'd they count them so fucking fast? You know, I know I'm not trying to call bingo ladies slow. They're pretty quick. They play bingo, right? But I'm like, shit, I don't see how that's possible. So I started giving it a bit more of a critical eye. And yeah, it turns out it's not. It's not possible for that to happen. And right there, it was kind of like, well, I guess that's a bunch of bullshit. And with time, it's only gotten. I fucking hate that. It's only got more clear to me that the whole thing is a fucking scam. It's just there's a myriad of evil planned benefits they get from doing this. But the main thing is to make you think that you have some sort of hand on the wheel, you know? And a pacifier like that is great for a population. You know, when you're trying to break them the bad news about losing their job or losing their homes or having some other kind of stress put on them by the system, they can just blame it on some politician and say, make sure next time you vote these people out. How many times have you heard that? Vote them out. You're not voting anybody out. They're all the same. They're all one thing. Any conflict is kayfabe. You know, it's an act. It's a joke. It's all theater. You know, someone had, forget who it was. They once told me, the good-looking ones go to Hollywood and entertainment industry. The ugly ones go to politics. And the real weird-looking ones go to religion, implying that they have a pool, a not infinite pool, but a pool of people to choose from. I would theorize maybe they're somehow related, just like all the presidents are related. And that's, you know, they laugh about that. I remember seeing Obama being on a late night TV show, talk show, one of those, I don't know what it was. And they're joking about how he's related to Bush. And if you look at the lineage of these people, they are all related in some way. You know, by cousins or by marriage, they're all related. Nothing happens that isn't supposed to happen. Now, are there some things where like a community could vote on like the name of a street or whether or not, you know, this park project gets funded, little things like that? Yeah, sure. They don't care about that stuff. But I mean, even that I think has its limits. They don't let the people do anything. And I would say even stuff like that is probably just lobbied by different people that are already in government that want things. The idea that there's any reality to the voting system, to me, it's one of those things I look at now and I'm like, how did I ever think that was possible? I mean, this is like moon landing tier type stuff to me. That happens a lot now. Like, that happens with a lot of things. And it's going to keep happening, you know? It used to be it would happen with stuff like this, that had some kind of structural tie to, you know, the system as far as power control. And then as time goes on, it's back to shit quilt. It's like, oh, everything is fake. Everything is a work. And like I've explained before, it has to be. None of it can be real. Because what you got here is you got a shit quilt. You know, it's a quilt of shit. All these things tied together that create this thing. And if one of them was real or true or wasn't covered in shit, it would stick out. And the rest of the quilt wouldn't work. Not technically because one thing is different. It's because one thing wouldn't have the shit on it. You'd then realize that everything else does. Do you follow? I like that one. David Roth does that all the time. It's like, so when you're the sun and you're coming through the clouds get heavy like a death hawk. You follow? It's like, no, Dave, we don't follow. What the fuck are you talking about? I always think that's so funny. So try to throw that into conversation anytime I can. But yeah, it's a work. It's a work. You don't have any kind of hand on the wheel. They can't give you a finger on the wheel. They can't give you any part of a hand that's on the wheel. Because like the shit quilt, if they were to do that, everything else would completely come undone. Everything, this is a very all or nothing kind of system. And for it to work, none of it can be real. These are all fucking voting. I said, come on, guys. You gotta get over that shit. Because all you're doing is arguing with, you know, it splits families up. You know, it makes neighbors hate each other. It's a great divisive tool for them to use. But if you just think about the logistics of it, even if there were places where, say the government ban does come, it does pick up. It's still such a leaky system that how could you trust something like that? So yeah, what would happen with the Biden-Trump thing, and they have the film of them pulling those votes in. That's all theater too. That's all theater. They had a fake voting scandal with a fake voting system. It's a big show. It's a big show. And I know people, there will be people that will never like come to terms with that or understand it or believe it, and that's fine. You know, it's some will when shown, some won't at all. So it's just one of those things. But it just kills me when I see that someone saying, you gotta vote. It's like, yeah, this will be the one time where everything turns out okay, because you went out and you made out your card and you put it in the bingo lady's box. This will be the one time where everything turns out right. A lot of jokes there. I'm going to let all of them go. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.